Our whole approach, instead of isolating your child, is actually to expose your child to this madness. Hey everyone, Barak Lurie again, talking about my new book, Keeping the Kids All Right. We talked about what the problem was, that schools are teaching what they want to teach to your child, and you're not necessarily knowing what they're actually teaching, and it could be very dangerous stuff. They may be teaching that there is no God. They may be teaching that America is an awful country. They may be teaching that global warming is the biggest threat to society today, and that, of course, transgenderism, that your boy might be a girl, and vice versa. Before we talk about the actual fight against this, let's talk about what doesn't work. Look, a lot of parents come to me, because I'm a lawyer, and say, look, these terrible things are happening at school. Can you help me? Can we sue them? Well, let's say you sue them. For whatever reason, let's say there's something pornographic in the school library and you want that book out. Okay, so you sue the school. There are all sorts of decisions that have to be made by the court. And next thing you know, it's 2 years later. Your kid has already graduated from the school and you've lost any purpose in filing the lawsuit in the first place. And that's, of course, to say nothing about the ill will that you've now created between you and the school and the fees and costs associated with this very unpredictable outcome anyway. So it's a loss. Likewise, you might say, well, even before that, I'll go ahead and talk to the principal and we'll talk about the curriculum. Well, you'll find that the principal is pretty much tied to whatever the school board has to say about that. So you decide to go to the school board. Well, they in turn also say the same thing. They are tied by the accreditation rules and the county rules about what must be taught in the school curriculum. So then maybe you decide to go to the county. And again, you're going to be one of those parents that now is behind the microphone talking to 3 or 4 school board members, and you're going to convince them that they are just wrong in advancing this, and they'll yawn. Nothing will happen. In any of those scenarios, if you find yourself in that scenario, you've already lost. You're way behind the game. At this point, the school has already pushed so much of the nonsense and your child has imbibed so much of what the school has already pushed on him. So then you think, well, maybe I'll take my kid out of school and I'll homeschool him. And not only that, but I'll also make sure that he won't have anything in the social media world and he won't have friends that otherwise might talk about this kind of garbage. Isolate him as much as possible. Okay, well, that doesn't work either. Now, homeschooling, I have nothing against it, but I want you to know that you will not be able to isolate the kid. Our whole approach, instead of isolating your child, is actually to expose your child to this madness. Simply show how crazy the world is. The trick is to talk about this as early in the child's life as possible. And I mean really early. At the same age as your boy might love to look at garbage trucks coming down the street, or your girl loves to be a unicorn princess, that's the age you start talking about how great America is, how awesome God is, and how boys are awesome, and how girls are awesome. That's what you got to do. And you got to do it all the time. Here's the great news. It's fun, it's easy, and it appeals to everything that a young child wants. A child wants to love the country he lives in. A child wants to believe in God, and a child wants to love the sex that he was born into. I'm Barak Lurie. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk with you next week.